With Inktober just around the corner, I thought it would be the perfect time to make a video talking all about my favorite inks. Let's start off with the pens. The Copic Multiliners are a great fine liner pen. The ink is pigmented and they create a nice consistent line. They come in a variety of tip sizes and colors and are also waterproof. I enjoy using the extremely fine tipped ones in watercolor illustrations that have fine details that need outlining. The Prismacolor Premier illustration markers are another great fine liner option. They're very comparable to the Copic Multiliners, and I enjoy using them equally. They are also waterproof and come in a variety of colors and sizes. Their only downside, if you can even call it that, is they don't come in quite as many tip size options as the Copics, but overall they are a great ink option if you want a nice, dark, consistent line. My next favorite ink is actually just a basic ballpoint pen. The ones I've been using are the Bic medium-tipped round stick pens. In this case, the cheaper the pen, the better. The super inexpensive ballpoint pens that you can get multiples of in a box are seriously the best. The cheaper ink will actually set and become waterproof after a few hours, and because the ink tends to be drier, you can actually create fantastic smooth shading by altering the pressure you're using. Of course, if you really want, you can still achieve a smooth, consistent line as well. The versatility of ballpoint pens, as well as the awesome effects you can achieve with them, are why they're one of my favorite inks. The next pens are a newer favorite of mine. They're the Muji Gel 0.25mm pens. These are super cool. They also come in a variety of colors, but what's really special about these pens is that they're basically an extremely fine-tipped ballpoint pen. That means you can scribble and press as hard as you want without having to worry about breaking or damaging the tip like you would with a traditional fine liner. Their only downside is that they're not waterproof, but if you plan on using them with something like watercolor, you can always do the line work after. Overall, these are a great, smooth, pigmented type of pen. These next pens I'm sure will come as no surprise to those that have been watching my channel for a while. They're the Uniball Signo Broad Gel Pens. These also come in a variety of colors. The white version is my all-time favorite white gel pen, but the metallic colors that I have in this gel pen are also amazing. The ink is extremely pigmented and goes on super smooth. I actually use the metallic colors to sign prints all of the time. The pens aren't waterproof, but they're great for adding details and highlights on almost finished pieces. Next are the Tombow Fudenosuke brush pens. These come in a set, and I'm not sure if you can buy them individually, but what is really cool about these pens and this set is that they have different nib hardnesses. They are both felt tip brush pens, but one of the pens has a more flexible nib than the other, giving you options with your line work. They both look like brush pens when used, but the more flexible nib has a wider range of line thickness, whereas the harder nib is more consistent. These would be great for a beginner who might not have the line control yet for a more flexible brush pen. Speaking of more flexible brush pens, my next favorite pen, which might actually be my favorite from this entire video, is the Pentel brush pen. I'm sure lots of you have already heard of this pen, and for good reason. It has an actual brush fiber nib that delivers an insane amount of line variant. It's also an extremely reasonably priced pen that comes with ink cartridge refills. You can also buy more refills later to keep using the same pen for a very long time. The ink itself is very pigmented and is waterproof when fully dry. I seriously cannot say enough good things about this pen. And that's actually it for the pens, but now let's talk about bottled inks. First up is the Daler-Rowney FW acrylic inks. These are my favorite acrylic inks. They come in a ton of color options, all of which are insanely pigmented. The bottles also have this really nice eyedropper, which makes it super easy to get some of the ink out if you want to put it on a palette or something and use it with a brush. I normally like using them with a dip pen that has a fairly fine nib attached to it. Like I said, these inks are super pigmented no matter what the color and are waterproof when fully dry. The other acrylic ink that I really like are the Amsterdam acrylic inks. I'm specifically a big fan of their metallic colors, although all of the colors that I've tried seem to be of equal quality. Their metallic colors are a big standout simply due to their wide color variety. Most ink ranges would only have a silver or gold, but the Amsterdam inks come in copper, bronze, and a slew of other amazingly pigmented metallic shades. They also don't separate like a lot of other metallic inks seem to, where you have to shake the bottle up every 2 minutes when using them. And last but not least is Indian ink. The bottle that I have is just a generic Canadian art store brand, but all of the Indian inks that I've tried seem to perform similarly. I like Indian ink because it tends to be a little more sheer, giving you options. It dilutes very nicely, giving you even more options if you want to create an ink wash or build it up to be super black. I like using this ink mainly with a brush, but it also works great with a dip pen. It's also waterproof once fully dry. And those are all of my favorite inks. I'd love to know what some of your favorite pens and inks are, so definitely leave a comment with your recommendations. But that is everything. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.